Hello friends, welcome back. We are studying advanced Java programming. In the previous lecture, unit number 5 started interacting with database. In the previous lecture, we have studied some introductory parts: JDBC, ODBC, database, client server methodology, software architecture, like these points. In the lecture number 38, current lecture, we are going to study JDBC structure, JDBC drivers, and the JDBC API. The JDBC structure, first point, the JDBC is two-dimensional. The reasoning for the split is to separate the low-level programming from the high-level programming application interface. The low-level programming is the JDBC driver. The idea is that database vendors and third-party software vendors will supply pre-built drivers for connecting to different databases. JDBC drivers are quite flexible. They can be local data sources or remote database servers. The implementation of the actual connection to the data source or database is left entirely to the JDBC driver. The structure of the JDBC includes these key concepts. See the structure. The goal of the JDBC is a DBMS independent interface, a generic SQL database access framework, and a uniform interface to differentiate data sources. This is the main goal. The programmer writes only one database interface using JDBC. The program can access any data source without recoding. This is the goal of the JDBC driver or JDBC. See this figure, JDBC architecture. Java application is there which can communicate to the JDBC drivers, and these JDBC drivers are classified into number of drivers: Oracle driver, DB2 driver, PostgreSQL driver, like this. This will continue, and these drivers communicates with the Oracle database server, DB2 database server, or Postgre database server. Like these interfaces are there, and this total forms the JDBC architecture. Now JDBC drivers. Sun has defined 4 categories of JDBC drivers. The categories delineate the differences in architecture for the drivers. One difference between architectures lies in whether a given driver is implemented in native code or in Java code. Native code means whatever machine code is supported by a particular hardware configuration. For example, a driver may be written in C language and then compiled to run on a specific hardware platform. Another difference lies in how the driver makes the actual connection to the database. The 4 driver types are as shown or are as follows. First driver is called as the type 1 driver. That is, the name for that driver is the JDBC ODBC bridge driver. Type 1 driver, and its name is the JDBC ODBC bridge driver. This type uses bridge technology to connect a Java client to a third-party API such as Open Database Connectivity, that is ODBC. Sun's JDBC ODBC bridge driver is an example of a type 1 driver. These drivers are implemented using native code like C programming. This driver connects Java to a Microsoft ODBC Open Database Connectivity data source. Figure shows the type 1 driver. Java database client is there which connects through the JDBC ODBC bridge driver, and this bridge driver communicates to the different database servers. ODBC driver A, B, C, these are the database servers. The Java 2 Software Development Kit SDK from Sun Microsystems includes the JDBC2 ODBC bridge driver, and that driver's syntax is like this: sun.jdbc.odbc.jdbc odbc bridge driver. Okay. This driver typically requires the ODBC driver to be installed on the client computer and normally requires configuration of the ODBC data source. Configuration we can see later. The bridge driver was introduced primarily to allow Java programmers to build data-driven Java applications before the database vendors had Type 3 and Type 4 drivers. Next is the Type 2 driver, which is known as the native API driver. Second type, Type 2 driver, native API driver. Figure shows that Java database client which communicates with the JDBC driver, Java and binary, and these all communicates with the different types of database servers. Vendor specific protocols are implemented, and by using these protocols the Java client can communicate with the database servers. Type 2 driver. This type of driver wraps a native API with Java classes. The Oracle Call Interface OCI driver is an example of a Type 2 driver because a Type 2 driver is implemented using local native code. It is expected to have better performance than a pure Java driver. These drivers enable JDBC programs to use database specific APIs, normally written in C or C++, that allow client programs to access databases via the Java native interface. This driver type translates JDBC into database specific code. Type 2 drivers were introduced for reasons similar to the Type 1 ODBC bridge driver. This is the Type 2 driver, native API driver. Type 3 driver, that is known as the network protocol pure Java driver. Type 3 driver, network protocol pure Java driver. These drivers take JDBC requests and translate them into a network protocol that is not database specific. These requests are sent to a server which translates the database requests into a database specific protocol. Here two types of translation occurs. First is for the network protocol and second is for the database specific protocol. This type of driver communicates using a network protocol to a middle tier server. The middle tier in turn communicates to the database. Oracle does not provide a Type 3 driver. They do, however, have a program called Connection Manager that, when used in combination with Oracle's Type 4 driver, acts as a Type 3 driver in many respects. See the figure, database client communicates with JDBC driver pure Java and database access server is there. By using this server, we can communicate with the different types of database servers like A, B, C. This is the Type 3 driver, network protocol pure Java driver. Next is the Type 4 driver, native protocol pure Java driver. Native protocol pure Java driver, it is called as the Type 4 driver. Figure Type 4 driver, Java database client communicates with JDBC driver, pure Java. Vendor specific protocols communicates with the database servers. These convert JDBC request to database specific network protocols so that Java programs can connect directly to a database. This type of driver written entirely in Java communicates directly with the database. No local native code is required. Oracle's thin driver is an example of a type 4 driver. These are the 4 types of drivers: type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4. Like these types are there. They have specific names. Next is the JDBC API. What is JDBC API? The JDBC API, Java Database Connectivity Application Programming Interface, is contained in 2 packages named java.sql and javax.sql. The JDBC API is contained in 2 packages that are named as java.sql and javax.sql. The java.sql package contains core Java objects of JDBC API. There are 2 distinct layers within the JDBC API. The application layer, which database application developers use, and driver layer, which the drivers vendors implement. These are the 2 layers, application layer and driver layer. The connection between application and driver layers is illustrated in the following figure. This figure shows the JDBC API structure. First class is the driver manager, next driver, then connection interface. It has a 3 sub statements: prepared statement, callable statement. Next prepared statement has the result set. Figure shows the JDBC API. Figure shows the JDBC API. Once again, driver manager, driver, connection, prepared statement, callable statement, and all the final is the result set, like this. Next, there are 4 main interfaces that every driver layer must implement, and 1 class that bridges the application and driver layers. The 4 interfaces are driver, connection, statement, and result set. The driver interface implementation is where the connection to the database is made. The most applications driver is accessed through driver manager class. So these all interfaces and classes are very important. Process, the JDBC process, how our front end or our application can fetch the data from the data source or databases, and this process is given in this point: accessing JDBC ODBC bridge with the database. How we can access the bridge driver with the database? Before actual performing the Java database application, we associate the connection of database source using JDBC ODBC bridge. The steps are as follows. These are the steps we need to follow. Everyone keep these steps properly, study these steps. Okay, first step is the go to control panel. In that administrative tools, select the data sources. Second step, open data sources ODBC icon. open data sources ODBC icon. See this icon and click on that icon and open that icon. Third step, select the tab with heading user DSN. Fourth step, click on add button. Fifth step, select the appropriate driver as per the database to be used. Example given, Microsoft ODBC driver for Oracle to access Oracle database. Sixth step, click finish button and the corresponding ODBC database setup window will appear. These are the some steps. Next, seventh step, type DSN data source name and provide the required information such as username and password for the database. And database file extension is the .mdb file of Microsoft Access database, etc. And click on OK button. Eighth step, our DSN name will get appeared in user data sources. In that data sources, this name is displayed or appeared. Next, there are 6 different steps to use JDBC in our Java application program. These can be shown diagrammatically as below. These 6 steps, when we perform these 6 steps programmatically in our Java application, then that program or that application can communicate with the database. First phase, initialization. And what is the task of this initialization? Which loads the driver and creates the connection. In initialization phase, task is loading the driver, creating the connection. To load the driver, relevant java.sql classes responsible for that are the driver manager and connection. This is the initialization. Second phase, processing. Generate SQL statements, process result data. Processing, generate SQL statements, process result data. Statement result set. Third phase is the termination, terminate connection, release data structures, and for this classes important are the connection and statement. These are the 6 steps to use JDBC. Following is the list of steps. First step is the load the driver. Second step, define and establish the connection. Third step, create a statement object. Fourth step, execute a query. Fifth step, process the results. Sixth step, close the connection. Now first step, loading the JDBC driver. The JDBC drivers must be loaded before the Java application connects to the DBMS. The class.forName method is used to load the JDBC driver. In this method, class C is capital and N is capital. Class.forName, this is the method used to load the JDBC driver. The developer must write routine that loads the JDBC ODBC bridge. The bridge driver called अरे मर्दानो काय सांगालोय तुला. Loading the JDBC driver. The JDBC drivers must be loaded before the Java application connects to the DBMS. The class.forName method is used to load the JDBC driver. The developer must write routine that loads the JDBC ODBC bridge. The bridge driver called sun.jdbc.odbc.jdbc ODBC driver. It is done in following way. class dot for name into bracket double quotation sun dot jdbc dot odbc dot jdbc odbc driver double quotation complete bracket complete semicolon. This statement loads the driver. This is called as the loading the driver. Next is the connect to the DBMS. After loading the driver, the application must get connected to DBMS. For this, we use driver manager dot get connection method. The driver manager is highest class in java.sql hierarchy and is responsible for managing driver related information. The driver manager dot get connection method is used or is passed the URL of the database and user ID and password required by the database. The URL is the string object that contains the driver name that is being accessed by the Java program. The driver manager dot get connection method returns connection interface that is used throughout the process to reference the database. This is called as the connect to the database. The signature of this method is connection space driver manager dot get connection into bracket string URL string user ID string password bracket complete semicolon. Like this syntax you can use for the connecting to the database. Here the URL format is specified as follows: protocol colon sub protocol colon DSN name data source name. This is the format for URL. The protocol is a JDBC protocol that is used to read the URL. The sub protocol is the JDBC driver name and DSN name is the name of the database that we provided while creating JDBC bridge through control panel. We use the following URL for our application: JDBC colon ODBC colon customer. Here customer is an example of DSN given to our database. The username and password are also provided at the time of creating DSN. It is not compulsory to provide the username and password. For example, connection con semicolon con equal to driver manager dot get connection into bracket double quotation JDBC colon ODBC colon customer double quotation complete single bracket comma double quotation macro double quotation complete comma double quotation pitch double quotation complete bracket complete semicolon. Next step is the create statement object. The create statement method of connection interface is used to create the statement object which is then used to execute the query. For example, statement st equal to con dot create statement semicolon. This is the method to create the statement object st. Next is the execute the query. To execute the query, the method used is execute query of statement object is used and process the query which returns the result set object. Result set is the object which actually contains the result returned by the query. For example, result set rs equal to st dot execute query into bracket double quotation select star from customer double quotation complete bracket complete semicolon. Here the customer is neither database name nor DSN name, but it is a table name. In select query we are passing the table name, so customer is in this query is the table name. Next, process the result step. The result set object is assigned the results received from the DBMS after the query is processed. The result set object consists of methods used to interact with data that is returned by the DBMS to Java application program. For example, the next method is used to proceed throughout the result set. It returns true if the data is available in result set to read. The result set also contains several getX methods to read the value from particular column of current row. For example, get string into bracket double quotation name double quotation complete bracket complete will read the value from column name in the form of string. Instead of passing column name as parameter, we can pass column as parameter also, such as get string into bracket 1. For example, processing the result, string name semicolon integer age semicolon do open curly bracket name equal to rs dot get string into bracket double quotation name double quotation complete bracket complete semicolon age equal to rs dot get int into bracket double quotation age double quotation complete bracket complete semicolon system dot out dot println into bracket name plus double quotation equal to double quotation plus age bracket complete semicolon curly bracket close while into bracket rs dot next bracket open close the bracket semicolon. Like this we can process the result. These are the steps. Lastly, terminate the connection. The connection to the DBMS is terminated by using the close method of the connection object once Java program has finished accessing the DBMS. The close method throws an exception if problem is encountered when disengaging the DBMS. For example, con.close method semicolon. The close method of statement object is used to close the statement object to stop the further processing. Thank you guys. Prepare this lecture thoroughly, go through this and prepare for the same. Thank you.